This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are joined with our psychotherapist, our writer, founder of Acceptance and Integration Training, better known as AAIT, and really excited that she's here to talk more. Melanie McGhee joining us live today from beautiful Tennessee, talking about the worldwide benefits of this and really the SERVE framework in a sense and a roadmap for healing and transformation. So listen up, everyone. We're going to introduce the SERVE framework here today. We're going to seek understanding, engage collaboration, resolve reactivity, and really verify and stabilize some of these results. And you're going to hear a lot about AAIT and really the heartbeat, where it came from, what it means, and how it can help both you as a client or as a therapist experience rapid, lasting change. So, Melanie, you've created something called the SERVE framework, right, for people that are new to AAIT. So, can you share a little bit what it is? How'd you come by it? And let's get started today.
Sure. So the framework, it came into being after studying with these master teachers and watching that every one of them really valued and appreciated the limited time that we have with our clients. And given this limited time, it's important to make the very best use of time that we possibly can, and to ensure that our clients are getting rapid change. So when I noticed that all of them really talked about and recognized just how limited our time is and how to focus that time, that's when things started to come together for me.
Interesting. And you're here really talking about, let's talk about the framework, or when was there a moment in your life that you realized that maybe, there's a missing piece here? What's going on?
Yeah, I noticed that some clients, when I was more focused and asking directly, what is it you would like to focus on today? What are you noticing from the work that you did last time? That really set the stage for, we're going to get down and get to work. And so that was when I saw clients were really embracing that. That's also something that came together for me. And so it allows us to make sure that we are addressing what's top of mind and the biggest problems that our clients have, rather than staying stuck in the first phase, which is seek understanding. A lot of therapists, a lot of healing arts professionals, we just stay in that phase of trying to understand someone, trying to discover what's wrong, what can we do to make it better. And with AIT, that's really the first 10 or 20 minutes of the session, when we're like checking in. How's the week gone? What did go? What did you notice from your work last week? What's alive and real for you now? What is it that you'd really like to focus on and resolve, not just talk about? And that takes about 10 to 20 minutes, and then we're off to the races.
I like that. Off to the races. So why the word serve? What does that represent to you, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, I think that mental health care and spiritual well-being is one of the best ways we can serve ourselves and let that spill over and serve each other. That in this world where we live together, we share air, we share community, we share nature, we share life. And when we can serve ourselves and really take care of our own mental and emotional and spiritual well-being, that ripples out to our families. And so the frame of serve, as a therapist, I'm committed to service. I'm committed to doing the very best I can to serve the person in front of me and to help them be free of the pain that's brought them to my office.
Let's talk a little bit more about some of the serve phrases in particular. Do you mind, if you can, just kind of talk maybe about each one and how they all, really support healing? So we can start off with the serve, which is the seek understanding, correct?
Yes, it's an acronym. So the five phases that you mentioned earlier: seek understanding, engage collaboration, resolve reactivity, verify and stabilize the results, embody that new knowledge in the true self. So the first one is we're really trying to understand the person in front of us, not just the diagnosis, not just the symptomology, but to understand them. And in that understanding, find a deeper connection with each other, to find a way that we are really connected to each other, and then connected to what they want to change, what they want to heal. So it's client driven and not insight driven. And often when someone has done AIT, when they come back the following week and I ask them that question, we're verifying the results. How long, did you notice that problem? For the most part, people forgot they had the problem, and their own wisdom starts to point out where their next step in healing is. So that's the first phase, seek understanding. The next phase is, sorry, did you have any
No,
questions?
go ahead. I was going to say, what's the next?
So the next phase is engage collaboration. And so that's where we're really pausing to collaborate with our client to make sure that we understand this is what you'd like to focus on and heal in this session. This is where your heart is. This is what's top of mind for you. And there's a really interesting phenomena, I think, that happens in this, that with this model, when we are engaging in collaboration, we're recognizing that we're engaging with someone that is, through all their pain, already whole. And so we already have our eye on the ball there. We already recognize we are focused on their healing and wholeness, and can sense that and can help easily walk them into it. But the first step, so we're remembering who we're collaborating with, not just someone in pain, someone who is already whole. So it sets a different tone in the room. And the next phase is to resolve reactivity. So let's say, someone might be getting a divorce, and it's incredibly painful and tragic for them, and they're worried about their children. And the biggest thing that's top of mind for them that they've been talking about is the worry about their children. So we engage collaboration, that recognizing that worry is actually going to inhibit them having the parental wisdom to support their children through this. They'll be more connected with their worry than with the child. So when we're resolving reactivity, we might focus on that worry and focus on resolving that for them in that session, so that then they can go home and support their children through this very difficult time. So resolve reactivity, we pull in one of any number of processes that we use to help people metabolize the charged energy associated with whatever their target is that we've identified in engaged collaboration. And then we move on to verify and stabilize those results. And when I'm teaching therapists, Jill, this is one of the things that in other healing arts professionals, spiritual counselors and coaches, this is one of the things that's really a little challenging for therapists to kind of step over the bounds and really verify their work. So the questions that we ask is, how is that problem resolved for you? And a lot of times people say, yeah, it is. It feels better. And then I might ask another question, or I would ask another question. How likely is it that problem will impose itself on you in the future against your will? Therapists don't typically ask that question. We're not verifying that work. And it is amazing that sometimes yes, sometimes no, it's pretty likely, it's unlikely, and I don't understand why. That's a really common response we get. But when we're wanting to verify those results, we'll make sure that they are to the point where, well, maybe a 2 or a 3 likely, but not much more than that. That's the kind of result we're looking for. And then the next stage is embodying that new knowledge. So we'll ask, well, okay, now that you don't have that worry, how does that change things for you? How might that change things for your children? What will be different? And that takes them closer to that true self that's not encumbered by the limitations of the divorce narrative and all the things that divorce narrative could mean to them. They are closer to who they really are beyond all that pain. So those are the 5 phases, and then we just do it again.
Go for it. Seek understanding, gauge collaboration, resolve reactivity, verify and stabilize results, embody new knowledge and true self.
In an hour. No, I'm joking, but people really do experience these phases in an hour, in a very short time.
Well,
Yeah.
why clients and therapists really love it. Clearly, you're getting a lot of good feedback from clients. I want to hear more about this, the approach, and, what they say about it so much.
Well, clients are really surprised that in the beginning, it's a little shocking. It's a little shocking that someone walks in and is terribly distraught over something. And then by the end of the hour, they're laughing. And they really don't think that thing that they were troubled with is going to be bothering them again in the future against their will. So they love that. It's incredibly empowering. It's also empowering for them to be asked. I asked a client recently, what's it like for you when I ask you every time, what did you notice from the work you did last week? And I'll point out the work they did. And they said appreciation, which really surprised me. They appreciated being asked. They appreciated that someone was paying attention enough to know that that issue, though no longer important, was important to them at one point. So they feel deeply cared about on one thing. And I was always focused on it's so empowering. And that is the other thing that clients really like about it. It's very empowering to recognize that they can change and heal so quickly. That's why clients like it.
Got it. And if you don't mind sharing, like on the therapist side, right? What do they tell you after they start using Serve?
I wish I would have done this in the beginning of my career. This is the
Hmm.
training. I've heard this multiple times. This is the training I've been looking for my whole career.
Ah,
That they love how it blends spiritual well-being, regardless of the religious path, to psycho-emotional healing. They love how they can reliably, like one client, I did a training this weekend, and one of the therapists was saying that it doesn't matter who comes in the door. She knows pretty much she's going to be able to handle just about anything and help that first person feel better by the time they leave. And
aw.
that's why we got into this, Jill. We got into this to help people. And so to actually be able to do it is profoundly rewarding.
Wow. Thank you for that. And also, let's talk a little bit, if we can, about maybe, the fact that you've been studying, with master teachers over the years. And do you want to talk about some of them, how they really do shape this framework? And yeah, give us some examples, if you don't mind, of some of the lessons maybe that you've
Sure.
learned and some of the teachers. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So one of my teachers, Mary Goulding, she was a student of Eric Berne and Fritz Perls. So for the psychotherapy nerds in the audience, Fritz Perls developed Gestalt therapy, Eric Berne developed transactional analysis, and Mary Goulding and her husband Bob developed redecision therapy. Mary was kind of ruthless when it came to getting people down to work. She just didn't truck with wasting time in therapy. It's like, you're here, our time is valuable. What do you want to fix? What do you want to be better about? What do you want to change? She was like always, what do you want to change? And let's get to it. So very um, direct and not very soft in that. But from her, what I learned is how valuable it is to get right to business, with your clients. Don't spend 20, 30 minutes, having coffee chat. Um, and so she was a primary teacher and really influenced my understanding of engaging collaboration. While Dick Olney, he was the founder of self-acceptance training and studied with master teachers himself. He was a wonderful man. And this model that he developed really taught me how to quickly seek understanding with a client and get to the root of where their painful charge was and begin to address it. And Jivarad Slavinsky, I got to study with him for close to 15 years, I think. He was a Serbian psychologist and totally changed my life around how to actually help people to resolve reactivity done, like to metabolize charged emotional pain quickly. I learned more from him than anyone on how to do that. And with all of them, it was more with Jivarad around verifying and stabilizing the results. That piece really came alive with him. The embodying new knowledge and the true self, that piece really does come from my study of non-dual philosophy and the wisdom traditions around awakening the human spirit. So that piece came from a personal study that I never, like, I've been studying this stuff since my 20s. I never expected these two worlds to collide, and here we are.
Wow. Amazing. And really, these teachings you said mentioned spiritual, psychological, even physiological, really merging into something that's so very unique. How did do you bring it all together in a sense?
How, how the model all came together. I have a couple of friends who were really great for me in helping me recognize what I was doing when I wasn't recognizing it myself.
Yeah.
My friend Sally Kempton, who was just a profound teacher in non-dual philosophy and meditation. She and I had multiple conversations, and she was one of the people who said, what you're doing is very unique. It's the clinical application of this ancient philosophy. And so she helped me see it begin to come together. And another friend of mine who was also a student of Givarad's, he is the one who encouraged me to codify it. In conversations he recognized, he said, what you're doing is different than what we learned. It's kind of combines it, but it's different, and you should codify it so you could teach it, because it's pretty awesome. So I did.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Also, with this work and all that you're doing, it's like in a sense, do you feel like you're still a student as well?
Oh,
Right? You're still learning each and
absolutely.
every day?
Absolutely. I'm a dedicated lifelong learner. I'm taking a class right now from Givarad's son. I'm definitely a lifelong learner, still learning. I still learn from clients. I've only been doing this since 1984, so just over 40 years or so, but I have so much to learn. And I'm absolutely continuing to learn and grow, and learning grow in the model itself. It's like the model itself is teaching me,
Yeah.
because it just awakens something different in all of us.
Beautiful. All right. And if you are just tuning in, I want to remind everyone what we're talking about here with AAIT and Melanie McGhee. Excited she's joining us here talking about the SERVE framework. That's right, the SERVE. If you missed it, we'll review it later. We got to watch the podcast. A road trip for healing and transformation. And she's here talking about the framework, which, she's created to help so many people, why clients love it, therapists love it as well. And let's talk a little bit about the big picture if we can, right? Because you often say this work isn't just about healing pain, it's about evolving consciousness. Can you share a little more details about that?
Yeah, and I also, I just want to recognize, Jill, that that's a bold statement,
Yeah.
right? I mean, healing consciousness is already healed and whole, so there is that. But it's a bold statement to talk about how, as we heal our inner turmoil and that inner static, our soul begins to shine more brightly. Our,
Hmm.
our whole being begins to feel more steady, more complete, more whole. And so what happens is that instead of paying attention to all of the conditioning, and we learn to recognize conditioned pain, that resolve reactivity, we learn to recognize when we are in reactivity. And then we learn to untangle from it. And in that untangling, we just for a little bit shift back to something closer to who we truly are, rather than being encumbered by the narrative. One of the principles of AIT is the true self is not encumbered by the limitations of a narrative. We all have stories, we all have pain, we all have trauma, we all have all the ways we got here, but that is not in that our true self is not encumbered by any of that, and we can shift back to our true self, which is a being. It's a vast expansive being.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. And do you want to talk a little bit more then about, how SERVE framework really does create more peaceful workplaces, communities, families in a sense?
Sure. I think that, I mean, we all know what it's like if you go home and your person is grumpy. It,
Hmm.
it sets a tone, it sets a mood for the evening, for the family, everybody. And we all know what it's like when we are having an off day. When when we learn to take responsibility for and tend to our inner state, we discover a freedom from that grumpiness. And so this peacefulness that we cultivate within ourselves when we're tending to ourselves in this way, it ripples out to each other. It ripples out to you and I when you and I are connecting. It ripples out to our family. This peacefulness, this steadiness, it's different when you're around someone who is taking responsibility for and tending to their inner state, and when you're around someone who is not. It feels different. And we are living in a time, obviously, lots of divisiveness, lots of being misunderstood. But when we take care of this here close to home, it starts to ripple out with our families, our communities, our colleagues, our
Yeah.
coworkers. Yeah.
Beautiful. And do you want to kind of leave us with some takeaway? People, obviously what else did you want to add on this before we go? We still got some more time though.
Yeah, I think that I mean, I do think that if there's some way you can give yourself permission to just slow down and pause for a moment, see
A lot
how
of
could
us
I serve
don't.
myself?
Mhm.
No, I mean, just simply, how could I serve myself today? If I was to seek a little bit more understanding with me, what would that look like? If I was to seek a little more understanding with my child, with my person, with my colleague, with my friend, what would that look like in this moment?
Yeah.
You know, just that, just to serve ourselves a little bit more and recognize that it is possible to heal and to heal quickly, and that will affect your family. It will affect the trajectory of your life. So yeah, I think it's valuable, for people who are curious, they can go to learnaait.com and see if, for therapists and healing arts professionals, see if your clients might be ready for it. We have a little quiz people can take, or just to connect with what we're doing.
hmm What else did you want to add? We still got a few more minutes left. I don't want to cut you short.
Oh no, yeah. Yeah, so let's see. I think that I've talked a little bit about the true self. And I just want to clarify that the true self, again, not encumbered by the limitations of a narrative.
hmm
And that is part of the model. That is a principle. The true self is not encumbered by the limitations of a narrative. The true self is a being, vast, expansive beingness. And when we know that, the other little problems that come along and we know how to resolve them, this recognition of who we are becomes quite compelling. It becomes like falling in love almost with yourself in a very beautiful way that's not bound to the stories of pain through which we normally identify ourselves. I'm someone who experienced this kind of awful thing, that kind of awful thing. We begin to shift identification away from all of those ideas and land with something much more pure.
Yeah. All right. Well, someone does want to reach out to you for further information. How can they get started? Melanie, would you mind sharing the best forms of contact, whether it's the website, phone number? Yeah, we'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, they could go to the website, learnaait.com, and that will take you to our nonprofit page, where we are working to train therapists to contribute to the upliftment of humanity with this work and advance equity in mental health care with this work. And they could email info@learnaait.com and poke around. We have classes and we have other opportunities, more opportunities locally here in East Tennessee for people to experience the work in the community. But we have therapists and healing arts practitioners all over the country and into Canada. So you can surely find someone in your neighborhood.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And also for you all out there, just since, we do have a few more minutes, just about the inception of this, could you just share a little bit about how all this came about? I think it's always important to establish in case there's, new people here on the line. How did you discover this?
Sure. Well, I have been practicing for a long time,
hmm
and I was given the advice very young that if I wanted to become a very good therapist, I need to find very good therapists and study with them. So I did that. And AAIT is the synthesis of that study, clinical hypnosis, self-acceptance training, spiritual technology was Jivarod's work, energy psychology, and the philosophies of non-dual awareness. And they all, I mean, at this point, I'm in my 60s now. So I started this in my 20s, and it all started to come together about 15 years ago when it started to, when Jivarod asked me to teach, that's when things started opening up, because I never intended to teach. I was just studying so I could understand. I'm a student. I want to understand. And when he asked me to teach, and these other pivotal conversations that I mentioned, that's when things started to really coalesce. And then when I saw clients getting better, and then I'd go back to my same old, then these same clients would say, why don't you do that thing you used to do? Because that was so much better than what you're doing right now. So I went back to what I was doing. And the other thing that's interesting about this model, Jill, is that we therapists and healing arts professionals, we use it with ourselves too. So that was the other shift for me, is that I had been using this with one particular client and realized, oh my gosh, she's outpacing me. She's going into territory I've never experienced and only read about. I've only read about these things. And that's when I realized I need to start my own, making sure my own embodiment practice is alive and personal, to teach people how to do these things for themselves.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you again for being here, for joining us. Reach out. Melanie McGhee, don't forget, learn AAIT.com. You have a fantastic day, and we'll talk again soon.
You too. Take good care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.